I never thought the worst betrayal on my wedding day would come from my own sister. I stand frozen in Bella's bridal boutique, my fingers hovering inches from the elegant white gown suspended before me. A deliberate slash runs along the seam, parting the delicate fabric like a wound. The cut is precise. No accident or manufacturing flaw. Someone took a blade to my wedding dress. Miss Alden, the boutique owner, approaches, her heels clicking softly against the hardwood floor. I am so sorry. We only discovered it during final pressing. My throat tightens. 2 days. The wedding is in 2 days. I reach out, my hand trembling as I trace the damaged seam. The cut travels 14 inches from below the bodice, curving along the hip of the A-line skirt. The dress I saved 8 months to afford. Can it be fixed? My voice sounds distant, like it belongs to someone else. Mrs. Valente's sympathetic eyes tell me everything. We'll try. Our seamstress will work through the night if necessary, but I must warn you, the fabric is delicate. The repair might show. A flash of my childhood bedroom walls me in. 10 years old, standing before my mirror in a homemade costume for the school play. Mari barging in, laughing at my pathetic attempt. Hours later, finding the costume torn. Mom sighing, why can't you be careful with your things like your sister? The memory twists inside me like a knife. Growing up in our modest Denver home meant living in Mari's shadow. While I excelled in academics, Mari's modeling photos dominated our living room. At 13, she landed her first magazine spread. By 17, she had become a regional beauty name with a growing social media following. I blink back to the present, my hands clenched. Vivian. Mrs. Valente touches my arm. Do you want to call someone? My high school graduation surfaces next, the valedictorian speech I practiced for weeks, scanning the audience to find my parents' seats empty. They had left early for Mari's casting call in Boulder. Dad texted later, sorry, kiddo. Mari needed us. The pattern never broke. When I asked about college funding, Mom laughed. College would be a waste of money for you. Mari's career is taking off. That's where our investment belongs. Mrs. Chong, my English teacher, became my salvation. She helped me land my first proper job at 19, recommended design courses, celebrated my achievements when no one else would. By 23, I had saved enough to move out, finding peace in the distance from my family's toxic orbit. Then, Elliot Warren walked into my life at a coffee shop, spilling his latte across my sketches. His horrified expression melted into genuine interest in my work. Our first date stretched into 5 hours of conversation. His family welcomed me instantly. Gregory and Patricia asked about my designs, remembered details about my projects, showed up to my first gallery showing. The contrast to my own family cut deep. Vivian. Mrs. Valente's voice pulls me back. My phone buzzes in my pocket. A text from Mari, hope everything's going smoothly with your preparations. The pieces clicked together with crystal clarity. 3 months ago, I called my mother with the engagement news. Her response, oh, that's nice, dear. Did I tell you Mari booked that national skincare campaign? A week later, Mari cornered me at Sunday dinner, her practiced smile never reaching her eyes. Oh, you're doing a small wedding, right? I guess it's fine if I get married the same day. The shock when Mari announced she'd booked her wedding at Aspen Ridge, the exact venue Elliot and I had reserved, still burns. Her ceremony scheduled 90 minutes before ours. Her guest list 3 times larger. Her dress featured in a local magazine spread. And now this. Mrs. Valente. I straighten my shoulders. I'll pick up the dress tomorrow at noon. But the wedding will go on. Something hardens inside me. Please tell your seamstress I appreciate her efforts. Outside in my car, 15, 20 minutes later, I grip the steering wheel until my knuckles whiten. My phone buzzes again with another text from Mari. By the way, I think Mom invited some of Elliot's relatives to my ceremony. Hope that's okay. I take a long, steady breath. For 27 years, I've tried to earn my family's love. Stepping aside, staying quiet, accepting scraps of attention. But this, my wedding dress, my day, this is where it ends. They've made their choice. Now I make mine. Later that day, I pushed through the revolving door of Aspen Ridge's grand entrance. My wedding planner, Cynthia, 2 steps behind me, clutching her clipboard. The afternoon sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the marble floors where my heels click with military precision. Your ballroom is the cedar room, Cynthia says, flipping through her notes. We confirmed it 3 times. The venue coordinator, a tall woman with a permanent customer service smile, meets us halfway across the lobby. Miss Alden, there's been a slight adjustment to your arrangements. My stomach drops. What kind of adjustment? You've been moved to the Pinewood room. She glances at her tablet. The change was approved by your wedding coordinator. I'm her coordinator, Cynthia steps forward. I approved nothing. The woman's smile falters. The request came from Mari Alden. She said she was helping coordinate both weddings and that you'd agreed to the switch. A familiar voice carries from the adjoining corridor. My mother's laugh, followed by her words, clear as crystal, of course, Mari's wedding is the main event. The cedar room is perfect for her guest count. I steady myself against a nearby column, fingers pressing into the cool stone. The cedar room, my dream space with its waterfall backdrop and panoramic mountain views. The room I reserved 6 months ago with the first check I'd ever written for 5 figures. The Pinewood room holds 50 people, correct? Cynthia asks. The coordinator nods. It's more intimate. A code word for smaller, less significant, second best. Mari has invited several members of the Warren family to her ceremony, the coordinator continues, checking her list. She mentioned they were shared relatives. They're not her relatives at all, I say, my voice tight. They're my fiancé's family. Oh. Her eyes widen slightly. She specifically requested Gregory and Patricia Warren be seated near the front. Elliot's parents, my future in-laws, the only parental figures who've shown me genuine support. A text buzzes on my phone. Mari had to invite Greg and Patricia to my ceremony since they're basically family now. Tom's hitting it off with Elliot's dad, business connections, you know. Don't worry, they can still make it to your little event after. The coordinator lowers her voice. Miss Alden, Mari mentioned she was doing you a favor by helping plan. She said you were struggling with the details. Blood pounds in my ears. 20 minutes later, I stand in the Pinewood room. It's fine. Serviceable. A corner space with modest windows and basic white walls. A wedding hall for someone who doesn't matter. My phone rings. Elliot. Mari's fiancé just called me, he says without preamble. He suggested we combine our weddings to save face since most of the guests will be at theirs anyway. I press my forehead against the window glass. What did you say? I told him I'd marry you in a courthouse tomorrow if that's what you wanted. His voice softens. This is our day, Viv, not theirs. For the first time since finding my slashed wedding dress, tears threaten to fall. A text from my father arrives. Your sister just needs more attention. She always has. Please don't make this difficult. I could recite those words from memory, the mantra of my childhood. Later that evening, my apartment door clicks open. Elliot enters, carrying takeout bags from our favorite Thai place. My coworker's supportive messages still light up my phone, offers to help with flowers, photography, anything I need. Your mom stopped by the boutique, Elliot says, setting down the food. She's checking on the dress repairs. I blink. My mother? No, mine. Mom was furious when I told her what happened. Something inside me fractures. I sink onto the couch, 27 years of composed smiles and swallowed hurt rising like a tidal wave. They never saw me, I whisper as Elliot sits beside me. Not once. Not when I graduated top of my class. Not when I got my first design contract. Not when I moved out. My voice breaks. They won't even see me on my wedding day. Elliot pulls me against his chest, his heartbeat steady under my ear. I see you, Vivian. My parents see you. Everyone who matters sees you. The phone rings. Gregory Warren's name appears on the screen. Vivian, he says when I answer. May I ask what ballroom number Mari's reception is in? The Cedar Room, I reply, puzzled. Why? Just confirming some details. I hear the scratch of a pen. Don't worry about anything. Focus on your day. When I hang up, Elliot's expression has changed, a mix of amusement and conspiracy. What's your dad planning? I ask. Elliot takes my hands. He wants you to have deniability. But let's just say Dad doesn't appreciate people who manipulate events in his family. The next evening at the rehearsal dinner, a small gathering at an Italian restaurant downtown, the Warrens surround me with warmth. Patricia adjusts my hair with motherly care. Gregory shakes hands with each guest, his conversation flowing easily. Across the room, I catch Gregory speaking quietly with Elliot's cousin, James, who works at his firm. They glance in my direction, then nod to each other. As dessert arrives, Gregory rises, champagne flute in hand. To Elliot and Vivian, he says, his voice carrying authority without volume. Family is defined not by blood, but by who stands beside you when it matters. Tomorrow will be a day of revelation. His eyes meet mine with unmistakable meaning, for everyone. On the wedding day, I stand before the antique mirror in the small bridal suite, my fingers tracing the nearly invisible repair along the seam of my wedding gown. The boutique seamstress performed a miracle overnight. Only someone who knew exactly where to look would notice the damage. Now you look beautiful, Vivian. My makeup artist steps back, admiring her work. Her smile reflects genuine pride rather than the hollow compliments I grew accustomed to throughout childhood. Thank you, Melissa. I study my reflection, hair swept into an elegant updo, minimal makeup highlighting my natural features. Nothing overdone or flashy. Just me, on my terms. A sharp knock interrupts the moment. The door swings open without waiting for a response. Mari stands in the doorway, resplendent in her own wedding gown, a designer creation with crystal beading that catches the light with every movement. Her professionally styled hair cascades in perfect waves. Her makeup flawless. Oh, I didn't realize you were still getting ready. Her voice drips with practiced innocence. I just wanted to check if you needed anything before my ceremony starts. Melissa glances between us, sensing the tension crackling in the air. We're fine, thank you. My voice emerges calmer than I feel. Mari steps further into the room, running her fingers along the vintage vanity. Mom thought you might want to use some of my hair accessories. Something a little more substantial, she says, her eyes flicking to my simple pearl pins, since your ceremony is so intimate. The word intimate curls from her mouth like an insult. Mari. I turn from the mirror to face her directly. Please leave. Her eyes widen with manufactured hurt. I'm just trying to help, Vivi. That's what big sisters do. You've helped enough. I gesture toward the door. Your ceremony starts in 40 minutes. I'm sure you have other things to attend to. For a split second, surprise flashes across her face, so brief anyone else might have missed it. She isn't accustomed to direct confrontation from me. Well, she smooths her gown, good luck with everything. The door closes behind her with a soft click. I exhale slowly, releasing the breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Wow, Melissa whistles low. That was intense. Family, I shrug, turning back to the mirror. Another knock, softer this time. Vivian. My mother's voice filters through the door. May I come in? I nod to Melissa, who opens the door. Mom steps inside, dressed in a lavender suit that coordinates perfectly with Mari's wedding colors. She carries a small box. I thought we might discuss the music selection, she says, setting the box on the vanity. Mari mentioned you hadn't finalized the processional, and I have some suggestions that might work better with the smaller venue. The music was finalized 3 weeks ago, I say, meeting her eyes in the mirror. Classical guitar for the processional, string quartet for the reception. But dear, she persists, wouldn't it be lovely to use the same orchestra as Mari? They could simply continue playing. It would save you the expense, and frankly, the quartet you hired seems a bit amateur. I turn to face her directly. No. Vivian, be reasonable. I said no. My voice remains steady. This is my wedding. My music has been chosen, paid for, and confirmed. She blinks rapidly. Well, I just thought that you could change things at the last minute to make my wedding an extension of Mari's, I finish for her. That's not happening. Her mouth forms a tight line. You've always been so stubborn. I'm only trying to help. You've never tried to help me. Not once in 27 years. The words escape before I can reconsider. Please go. Mari's ceremony starts soon, and I know that's where you want to be. She leaves without another word, the door closing with more force than necessary. Melissa approaches cautiously. Need a minute alone? I shake my head. No, I'm done with those. When she steps out to gather the bouquets, I stand alone before the mirror. The woman staring back at me looks different somehow, shoulders straight, chin lifted. The repaired dress, with its invisible mending, suddenly feels symbolic. This is my day, I whisper to my reflection. My phone buzzes with a text from Elliot, just saw your sister's guests arriving. Heard she's telling everyone to stop by the smaller wedding after for free drinks. My dad is having a field day taking notes. Love you. Can't wait to see you. I smile, slipping the phone into my small handbag. Whatever Gregory has planned, I trust him completely. Later that day, walking alone down the aisle feels nothing like I imagined as a little girl. No father's arm to lean on, no mother dabbing proud tears from her eyes. Instead, I move forward on my own strength. Head high, eyes fixed on Elliot. The intimate gathering of 50 guests, true friends and Elliot's loving family, creates a warmth no grand ceremony could match. Each face represents a genuine connection, not social obligation or status. When Elliot's eyes fill with tears at the sight of me, something breaks open inside my chest. This is what being seen truly feels like. You're extraordinary, he whispers as I reach him. The ceremony unfolds exactly as we planned. Personal vows that speak of finding family in unexpected places, of building something new together. No mention of troubled pasts or absent parents. I promise to be the home you never had, Elliot says, his voice steady despite the emotion shimmering in his eyes. A place where you are always seen, always valued, always enough. Afterward, in the smaller ballroom where our reception begins, I notice Gregory checking his watch repeatedly. Mari's ceremony concluded 20 minutes ago. Is everything okay? I ask as he pulls out my chair at the head table. His eyes twinkle. Absolutely perfect. Just keeping track of timing. That's when I notice the ballroom filling with unexpected guests in formal attire, men and women I don't recognize, filing in with champagne flutes already in hand. Elliot, I squeeze his hand, who are all these people? My new husband leans close, kissing my temple. Just wait. Dad says it's almost time. The string quartet transitions to a lively piece as servers appear with the first course. The mysterious guests mingle comfortably, making themselves at home in our celebration. Then a hush falls across the room. Mari stands in the doorway, still in her full wedding gown, her expression frozen in confusion. Her eyes dart around the packed ballroom, taking in the elegant decorations, the overflowing champagne, the crowd of well-dressed guests. As she steps further inside, recognition dawns on her face. These aren't random wedding crashers. These are her fiancé's colleagues, industry connections, influential people who should be at her reception right now. Gregory rises smoothly from his seat, champagne glass in hand. Ah, Mari, welcome to my son's wedding, he says, his voice carrying effortlessly across the now silent room. Isn't it magnificent? And in that moment, watching comprehension wash over my sister's face, I feel something shift irreversibly. The balance of power, tilted against me my entire life, finally rights itself. I stand beside my husband, straightening my shoulders. My day, my terms, my victory. Mari's eyes dart around the room, recognition flickering as she spots face after familiar face. I don't understand, she whispers. Gregory leans closer. Half your guest list works for my firm, he explains, his tone conversational but loud enough for me to hear every word. Did Tom never mention that I oversee human resources for West Architects? When I noticed certain names on both guest lists, I simply made sure my employees understood which wedding took priority. The diamond earrings at Mari's ears tremble as she shakes her head. But I sent personal invitations, and I sent personal reminders. Gregory finishes, raising his glass in a small salute. Remarkable how persuasive a note from one's boss can be. A commotion at the entrance draws our attention. Tom barrels through, his tuxedo slightly askew, face flushed with anger. He freezes mid-stride when he spots the senior partner from his law firm raising a toast with Elliot. What have you done? He hisses at Mari, grabbing her elbow. For the first time in my life, I see genuine panic in my sister's eyes. I didn't know, she says. My entire firm is here, Tom snarls, dropping his voice but not enough to hide his fury. Partners who never accept social invitations came to congratulate me on my wedding, only to find themselves at your sister's reception. Mari attempts to salvage the situation with her practiced smile. I just wanted to congratulate my little sister, she announces loudly, voice honey-sweet. What a lovely, intimate gathering. Tom's fingers dig deeper into her arm. Stop it, he growls. You made this about your petty games, and now I look like a fool in front of my boss. The entrance doors open again. My parents appear, their expressions expectant as they scan the room for Mari's grand celebration. Mom wears the coral dress she showed me 3 times, explaining how perfectly it would photograph against Mari's color scheme. Dad stands behind her, already looking bored. Their faces register confusion, then shock, as they take in the scene. Mari, cornered by an increasingly agitated Tom, the ballroom filled with elegantly dressed guests toasting Elliot and me. Gregory notices them too. He straightens his tie and walks over, extending his hand to my father. Mr. Alden, he says, his voice carrying, I'm Gregory Warren, Elliot's father. As a father, I wouldn't miss my son's wedding for anything in the world. He pauses, his smile never wavering. Strange how some parents think differently. Dad's hand hangs limply in Gregory's firm grip. Mom's mouth opens and closes without sound. Across the room, Tom's voice rises. You promised this would work. Keep your voice down, Mari hisses. Why? So you can save face? My managing partner just asked why I sent him to the wrong ballroom. Their argument escalates until they're no longer bothering to hide it. Tom throws his hands up. This is exactly like the condo decision and the honeymoon change, you making choices without consulting me. If you just... I'm done listening. Tom backs away, straightening his jacket. Enjoy your empty reception. As if on cue, a venue staff member approaches Elliot and whispers something. Elliot's eyebrows rise, and he turns to me with barely suppressed amusement. Apparently, he murmurs into my ear, Mari's reception across the venue stands nearly empty. Only 12 guests showed up. A strange feeling bubbles up inside me, not satisfaction exactly, but vindication. Years of standing in shadows, of making myself small, of accepting scraps of attention, all of it crystallizes into this perfect moment of clarity. My parents approach, their expressions transformed. Vivian, Mom says, her voice warm in a way I haven't heard directed at me in years, you've always been the more dependable one. Dad nods vigorously beside her. Always knew you would succeed, he adds, as if he hadn't missed every milestone that led to this day. I look at their faces, suddenly eager, suddenly proud, and see the truth. With Mari's star falling, they're scrambling to align themselves with success. The power has shifted, and like weather vanes, they've swung toward the strongest wind. I feel Elliot's hand slide into mine, his thumb brushing reassuringly across my knuckles. His touch grounds me. "You don't get to say that now," I tell them, my voice clear and steady. "I've already built a life without you." I turn to the nearest staff member. "Would you please escort these guests out?" They weren't on our list. As they're led away, their protests fading, Elliot pulls me close. The band strikes up our first dance song. Around us, the reception continues, the air lighter somehow, as if the room itself can breathe easier with the toxic elements removed. In Elliot's arms, surrounded by people who choose to celebrate us, I finally understand what family really means. 10 days later, a stream of texts floods my phone as Elliot and I watch the sunset from our rented coastal cottage. The Oregon waves crash against the rocks below. Each surge washes away another layer of tension from my shoulders. Mari's latest message glows on the screen: "Please call me, Viv. Mom and Dad are devastated. Tom left me. Everything's falling apart." I switch off my phone and place it face down on the wooden side table. 10 days of honeymoon peace won't be interrupted by their manufactured crisis. "More drama?" Elliot asks, his hand finding mine on the porch swing. "The usual. Mari's world collapsing. Parents heartbroken." I take a sip of wine, savoring the crisp Pinot Noir from a local vineyard. Apparently, Tom walked out after their wedding fiasco. Elliot's thumb traces circles on my palm. "Gregory mentioned Robert called him twice this week. Something about investments gone wrong." The pieces connect like a puzzle I no longer care to solve. My parents sank their savings into Mari's elaborate wedding, the now cancelled reception, the designer dress she'd never wear again, the honeymoon suite sitting empty. "Not our circus," I whisper. The liberation in those 3 words washes over me like the tide. When we return home a week later, our apartment feels different, lighter somehow. We unpack in comfortable silence, occasionally catching each other's eyes and smiling. The wedding photos arrive the next day. I open the package with Elliot, our heads bent together over the kitchen counter. Page after page of genuine joy, my repaired dress catching the light, Elliot's eyes never leaving mine during our vows, Gregory and Patricia flanking us like protective sentinels. Not a single shot includes my biological family. My phone buzzes with another voicemail notification: 14 messages from my mother, 8 from my father, 23 from Mari. I delete them all without listening. 3 days after our return, the doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I spot Mari's familiar silhouette, shoulders hunched, head bowed. "It's Mari," I tell Elliot, who looks up from his laptop at the dining table. "Your call," he says. "I can stay or go." "Stay," I say, the word coming out firmer than I intend. I open the door to find my sister stripped of her usual polish, no makeup, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, eyes red-rimmed and swollen. "Can I come in?" Her voice cracks. I step aside without a word. She enters cautiously, like an animal sensing a trap. Her gaze lands on Elliot, then darts away. "I've been trying to reach you," she says. "I know. Aren't you going to ask what happened with Tom?" I lean against the wall, arms crossed. "Does it matter?" "He said I humiliated him in front of his entire company. That I used him like I use everyone." A tear slides down her cheek. "I didn't mean for things to go so wrong, Viv. You just wanted to overshadow me again," I say, the words flat, without the heat I once felt. "You've been doing it since we were children. The only difference is this time you got caught." "That's not fair. I just wanted a beautiful wedding." "Is that so terrible?" I walk to the sideboard where my laptop sits. "Let me show you something." With a few clicks, I pull up the security footage from Bella's bridal boutique. The timestamp shows Mari entering through the back door, speaking briefly with someone off camera, then approaching my wedding dress. The scissors glint in her hand before she makes the precise cut. Mari's face drains of color. "How did you? Mrs. Valente recognized you." She has a daughter who follows your Instagram. I toggle to another screen, displaying the group text between Mari and our parents. Mom, just checked Vivian's venue contract. Their deposit only holds until 3 p.m. If your ceremony runs long enough, they'll have to downgrade to the garden space. Dad, smart thinking, princess. She won't even know what happened. Mari, sometimes being the pretty one means being the smart one, too. Mari stares at the screen, lips parted. Those were private. So is my wedding dress. I open another file. Here's your social media post mocking my pathetic budget wedding 2 weeks before the ceremony. Her eyes fill with fresh tears. Viv, I was just venting. I never meant. And this, I say, opening the final email, is the most interesting one. The message from our parents to Mari appears on screen. Darling, we've spoken with the venue coordinator. She understands our situation completely. Just make sure you outshine her in every way. We've put aside extra money for your flowers and champagne. No one will even remember her wedding by the time yours is finished. Mari collapses onto our sofa, shoulders shaking. Not the calculated tears I've seen her produce on command since childhood. These convulsions come from somewhere deeper, somewhere perhaps even she didn't know existed. I forgive you, I say, watching her head snap up in disbelief. Not because you deserve it, but because holding on to this anger would only keep me tethered to you. The forgiveness is for me, not you. Viv. We can have a relationship when you get help. Real help, Mari. Not Instagram therapy or whatever spiritual cleanse is trending this month. She rises unsteadily, mascara tracking down her cheeks. What about Mom and Dad? The same applies to them. I move toward the door, opening it wide. Some families aren't made of blood, Mari. I finally found mine. She pauses at the threshold, fragile and diminished. For a heartbeat, I see the little girl who once braided my hair before school picture day, before competition poisoned everything between us. I really am sorry, she whispers. I know. I close the door gently but firmly behind her. Elliot's arms encircle me from behind. You okay? I lean back against his chest, feeling his heartbeat through my shoulder blades. Better than okay. The weight I've carried since childhood, the constant striving for approval, the silent acceptance of scraps of attention, slides away like water finding its level. In its place, something unfamiliar yet welcome settles in my chest. Freedom. I arrange the fresh-cut lilies in a crystal vase, morning light streaming through the bay windows of our new craftsman home. 6 months since the wedding, and sometimes I still wake expecting to find myself back in that cramped apartment, bracing for another text from Mari. Those look beautiful, Elliot says, sliding a mug of coffee across our kitchen island. His hand covers mine briefly, warm, steady. Gregory and Patricia will be here in an hour, I remind him, adjusting one stubborn stem. Dad called this morning. He's bringing those design magazines from New York. Elliot's eyes crinkle at the corners. He's more excited about your freelance projects than his own retirement plans. The thought warms me. 3 major clients in the past month alone. My UX portfolio growing with work that reflects my vision, not compromises to please difficult bosses or family expectations. I sip my coffee, remembering last week's video call with a tech startup. The founder nodding approvingly at my wireframes. This is exactly what we need, Vivian. When can you start? No second guessing, no comparison to someone else's work, just straightforward appreciation of what I bring to the table. Elliot wraps his arms around my waist from behind. You disappeared there for a second. Just thinking about how different everything is now. His chin rests on my shoulder. Good different? The best different. The doorbell chimes. Elliot's parents arrive, bearing pastries from that little bakery downtown and Gregory's promised stack of design periodicals. Vivian, Patricia enfolds me in a hug that smells of Chanel No. 5, the same perfume she wore to our wedding. We saw the mock-ups you sent Gregory. Absolutely stunning work. Gregory sets the magazines on the coffee table, his silver hair catching the light. That healthcare interface will transform how seniors navigate their medical records. His voice carries the same certainty he used when confronting Mari at our reception. My colleague at Memorial wants to discuss implementing it system-wide. We settle in the living room, no tense silences, no waiting for backhanded compliments, just conversation that flows naturally, punctuated by genuine laughter. Almost forgot, Gregory pulls an envelope from his jacket. Your birthday dinner reservation for Saturday. Patricia insisted on laurels, they have that chocolate souffle you loved at Christmas. My birthday, 2 weeks away, and they remembered without prompting. After lunch, while Elliot and his father discuss the merger at the architecture firm, Patricia helps me clear plates. How's therapy going, dear? She asks quietly, loading the dishwasher. Good. Hard sometimes, I say, handing her a serving bowl. Dr. Winters says healing isn't linear. Patricia nods. You know, watching you stand up for yourself that day reminded me of when I left my first husband. Terrifying and necessary all at once. I've heard fragments of this story before. Patricia at 24, walking away from a controlling marriage with nothing but a suitcase. The card came yesterday, I tell her. From my parents. Her hands pause. And? Standard Hallmark. Hope you're doing well. Mari sent a separate one. Have you responded? I shake my head. Not yet. Mari mentioned she's seeing someone. A therapist, I mean. Patricia simply nods. No pressure either way. That evening, after Elliot's parents leave, we sit on our back deck, watching the sunset paint the sky. My phone buzzes with a work email, the industry award nomination I'd forgotten about. They want me at the ceremony next month, I tell Elliot, scanning the details. Of course they do, he says, squeezing my hand. You're revolutionizing how people interact with healthcare technology. We'll be there, front row, embarrassingly loud with our cheering. I picture it, looking out from that stage to see not empty chairs where family should be, but faces bright with genuine pride, Elliot, the Warrens, my colleagues, friends who showed up when it mattered. Later, as dusk settles, we discuss our plans for the spare bedroom. It could be a nursery, Elliot suggests cautiously. Someday. The idea no longer terrifies me, raising a child, becoming a parent. Not with what I've learned about breaking cycles. Someday, I agree. When we're ready. The doorbell rings, unexpected at this hour. On the porch sits a small package. Inside, a single white rose and a handwritten note in Mari's precise script, I'm getting the help I need. Take all the time you need. I place the rose in water but set the note aside. Some wounds heal, some don't. Either way, we move forward. Elliot appears in the doorway, a question in his eyes. It's okay, I tell him, meaning it. We're okay. Family isn't just blood. It's who sees you, who stays, who makes room for all of you, not just the convenient parts. And sometimes, it's who you choose to become.